The guest, the latest border crisis. There's a report from the State Department of Homeland Security. It says those unaccompanied illegal immigrants are giving federal agents infections: lice, scabies, tuberculosis, chickenpox. Here's Governor Mike Huckabee. He is with us this Friday morning. Governor, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. I have chicken pox. I'm going to give it to all of you, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Just like you.
Yeah, just like me, to go ahead and give you an infectious disease.
Now, hold on a second,
okay.
Governor. Hold on a second.
I knew there was a follow-up.
Yes. You think this is a financial program, and it is. But I'm going to ask you a moral question.
All right.
Would you be comfortable sending those youngsters back where they came from?
Well, I think I would be comfortable sending them back, not because just they have infectious diseases, but because there's not a legitimate reason for us to be taking people that we really aren't prepared to receive. There's got to be a process at the border. We don't have a process. We don't have a border.
But you know as well as I do, Governor, if we start sending them back, you're going to have videotape of a crying child being dragged onto a plane to go back to Central America. And that's not going to go down well, either PR-wise or morally.
Well, one thing we should be doing is, let's say Honduras. How much money do we give Honduras every year? We let the government of Honduras know that every dime we spend on kids from Honduras or anybody from Honduras who has come here illegally, that is deducted from the money that they would have received in aid. They need to decide how do they want it spent, on our side of the border or their side of the border. That's one way that we would at least get their undivided attention. I don't think we've got the guts to do that, but it's one of the things we ought to put into motion immediately.
So you would do it. You would put them on a plane. You'd send them back, and you'd not be uncomfortable doing that.
Well, I wouldn't send every person back without at least knowing, is there some galloping terror from which they're escaping? But if it's just because they would like to be here, you know, there are times I'd like to be in Disneyland, but I don't get to just hop on a plane at somebody else's expense and go and let them purchase the ticket for me. Sure. It is not an unchristian thing. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
Here's the question.
Important.
Is it unchristian to say you're not welcome? No. There is an obligation to Caesar, and there's an obligation to God. Pay Caesar what's Caesar's, pay God what's God's. I have a moral obligation as a Christian to help people who are hungry, to help people who are poor, to help people who are orphaned, and I want to do that as a Christian. But as a government, the government is not a charitable institution. The government isn't an entity that was created for the purpose of redistributing other people's money in the way that a government sees. I give generously to my church. My church will do some things for these children, but I'm not sure that it is the government's responsibility. They do have one, and it's to secure the border and make sure that we have a border. We don't have one right now.
Let's reverse the entire situation here. There is an aid worker, West Africa, who has contracted the Ebola virus. Going to come to America, go to the hospital in Atlanta. Some people are saying, don't let that American in. Don't bring Ebola into America. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think he's an American. You bring him back to America. Here's why. Because we have the capacity to put that person in isolation, to give them the treatment that they need and deserve. And if I'm an American somewhere and I'm trying to help people and I get in trouble, I'd like to think that my country would bring me back rather than say, good luck, buddy.
Donald Trump says we've got enough problems of our own.
Well, we do have enough problems of our own, but one of our problems is that we don't understand that why not take the American who's in trouble, who's paid his taxes, who has been there to try to be helpful, bring him back. If we're going to take tens of thousands of illegal people for whom we don't have a governmental obligation, this is an easy call for me. And again, we're not bringing it back on a commercial airliner, sitting around 15 people and letting him go through the line at JFK. For heaven's sakes, he's coming in on an isolation pod on a private airplane. He's going to be in an isolation pod in a hospital.
Brian Kilmeade is here. You got any comment on this? Look, the governor
I wouldn't let Brian
agree on this.
I'd keep Brian out.
See, that hurts. Yeah. That's why I was not allowed in Arkansas during your reign. And that would hurt my feelings, Governor. One thing, your comments make 100% sense. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying my obligations to an American first. It doesn't mean I don't like all people. We have this unbelievable aid apparatus around the country. We have these doctors flying around helping people out. It doesn't mean we have to let everybody in. I was staggered by George Will's comment. We got all these counties. We can all take 20 a county. Really? Okay, as opposed to everybody else that we're not handling, as opposed to our $18 trillion debt we're not paying down. Well, in the big picture, here's our compassion and here's our country. Let's help people where they live.
George Will was saying we are a great society and we are humanitarians. Take them. That's what he was saying.
Well, I think we are a great society. America's a loving country. It's a welcoming country, but we got to have some common sense. And the point is, if we just start saying anybody, anywhere, at any place who feels like they're in danger can come to America and we'll pay for it, Stuart, it's not realistic. We can't do it. And again, I think what Brian said is the answer. I don't mind shipping aid to people. I've been to Rwanda with the One campaign. I've seen what happens when you spend $8 on a mosquito net. I'm all for that. I really am. I'm not indifferent to the plight of people around the world, but I'm not indifferent to the plight of people in the Mississippi Delta who don't have running water in their homes or flush toilets. And I think, you know, to say that they don't matter, of course they do. They're part of our citizenry.
Stuart, very good booking getting the governor. Good job.
Good booking?
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense.
He was in the building. He's got a show on the Fox News channel.
Hey, Brian, I came for free. That's why I'm here.
Oh, okay, because I saw the invoice. So you have to buy the prompter guy. So we'll see if it's satisfied.
Yeah, and this is a financial program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. We'll see you at 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturday and Sunday nights on the Fox News channel.
Thank you, Stuart.